Hey everyone, welcome back to Homestead Corner. Today I have got 20 foods that almost never expire. So we talk a lot about food storage here, and I think it is so important to stock up as much as we can on things that are really going to last for us. We want to make sure that the things that we're buying, we're going to be able to use them up before they expire. And these 20 things are just about never going to expire. And if they're stored properly, cool, dark, dry, and airtight, they are going to last and last and last. A lot of it is going to last longer than we do. So some of these items on the list can be stored just the way you purchased them from the store, and some will need to be repackaged, especially if it comes in a paper container, anything like that, cardboard container. You're going to want to make sure that you're getting these items airtight. So make sure to check your packaging when you are purchasing items before you store them, and get them in proper packaging so they will last almost forever. So the first one is vinegar. Vinegar is going to last forever. The flavor may change over time, but it is not going to go bad ever as long as it's sealed up. The second one is soy sauce. Again, as long as it's sealed up, it is not going to go bad. You can stock as much soy sauce as you think you will ever need, and it won't go bad as long as it's in those good storage conditions. Number 3, honey. Honey is another one that is never going to go bad. It may crystallize in the container, but it is still good. There is nothing wrong with it. You can get it back to the natural form where it is a liquid, really thick, liquidy. How honey is sticky, but just by putting it in hot water, and just keep refreshing the hot water, and never boil your honey though, because it will destroy the enzymes in it if you boil it. So you do not want to do that. Just a bowl of hot water or a pan. You can heat the pan up to a boiling, turn it off, remove it from the burner, and stick your jar of honey right in there. And that will help dissolve those crystals. Or you can take the crystallized honey, and you can also just whip it until it is a nice whipped creamed honey texture, and that is wonderful on toast and biscuits and all sorts of stuff. So even if it crystallizes, it's still good, it's not bad, and it sometimes is even more delicious once it crystallizes. Number 4, ghee. Ghee is another thing that is not going to go bad. You want to make sure you keep it away from heat, is the most important thing. If you have a jar of ghee and you leave it on the stove and it warms up and cools down, it warms up and cools down, then it can go bad. But if you keep it away from the heat, you're not going to have any problems with ghee. Number 5, pure vanilla extract. That is never going to go bad on you. We make our own vanilla extract, and I make it for years and years and years. When I make it, I do a whole bunch of batches at once, big huge batch, and it's really simple to do, and it is not going to go bad on you. Number 6, those hard liquors like vodka, they are never going to go bad. Stuff that has additives and things like that are not going to last as long, but those hard liquors, especially vodka, rum, things like that, they're never going to go bad on you. The alcohol level is too high for anything to grow in there, and they are going to last and last. So that's something that you can stock up a ton of if you choose to. Number 7, instant coffee. Instant coffee never goes bad. Your regular coffee beans and your ground coffees are going to go rancid because of the oils in there, but instant coffee is freeze-dried, and it is going to last as long as it's sealed up. It will last for decades. You can throw it in the freezer if you choose to, but I don't really think you need to. I've never had it go bad, and I've had some really old containers in the pantry. Number 8 is tea. Tea is never going to go bad also. That's one of those items that you definitely want to repackage, because a lot of times it comes in a paper bag or a cardboard box or something like that, and you want to get it airtight for storage. I like to vacuum seal it. You can seal it in jars. You can do whatever you'd like. Just make sure that it is airtight, and that is going to help your tea stay longer than it would in the box. Number 9, cornstarch. Cornstarch is never going to go bad. You just want to make sure that you keep that moisture out. If it's something that you don't use all the time, I would definitely put it in an airtight container to help it so it doesn't take on any moisture. Number 10, maple syrup. As long as it is sealed up, it is not going to go bad. If you have a jar that you've opened but you don't plan on using it for a while, you can put maple syrup right into the freezer. It's not going to freeze solid, so you can take it out as you need it, but it will help it last longer, and it's not going to go bad in the freezer. But as long as it's sealed up, cool, dark, and dry is enough for maple syrup. Number 11, non-fat powdered milk. Most of the milks we buy that are powdered are non-fat, and those are never going to go bad. If you're buying it in a cardboard box or something like that at the grocery store, those need to be repackaged. If it comes all sealed in a can, that is just fine. Stick it on the shelf. It's going to last for almost ever. Number 12, baking soda. Baking soda will go flat for your cooking eventually if it goes way past the date, but baking soda is never going to go bad. So using it for cleaning products and things like that, it's going to be just fine. Even if it is 20 years past the date, it's still good as long as you keep it sealed up, airtight, cool, dark, and dry. Your baking soda is going to be just fine. It may not rise in your food, but the old stuff is perfect for cleaning. Number 13, rice. Rice is another one of those things. I like to freeze it and run it through that freezer cycle before I repackage it. A couple days in the freezer, and then let it come to room temperature on its own so it doesn't get any moisture in the bag, and then you can repackage it in an airtight, some kind of airtight storage container, and Mylar bags or vacuum seal bags in jars, buckets, whatever you want to do. But you want to keep it airtight. Moisture really is the enemy to your food storage. Number 14, beans and lentils. Beans and lentils are not going to go bad. They are not going to last in the bags that they come in from the store. It's another one of those items that has to be repackaged. When you get those airtight, they are going to last way, way longer. The only thing with beans and lentils is the older they are, the longer they're going to take to get soft. So make the older beans, if you've got beans that have been sitting around for 10, 15 years, as long as they've been sealed up, they're going to be just fine. But you may want to soak them overnight, and they may take a bit longer to cook, but they're still very good and perfect for eating. Number 15, bottled water. Bottled water isn't going to go bad if it's stored properly. The biggest problem I have found with bottled water is the bottles don't last. So if you're buying it in really good sturdy containers, it's going to last in your pantry. Sunlight is a huge problem for. Number 16, sugar. Sugar is never going to go bad. Even if it gets a little clumpy, it's still going to be good. You're just going to have to break it apart. I do make sure that we repackage all of our sugar and it's airtight. That way it doesn't take on moisture. You don't want to take a chance of that moisture causing problems, but sugar is just, it's inhospitable for anything to grow in. That's why jams and things like that have so much sugar in them, because that is the preservative. So sugar is one of those things. Just keeping it airtight, moisture free is really going to be key for your sugar. Number 17, wheat berries and hard grains, things of that nature, your buckwheat, your oat groats. Not once they're processed, but when they're in that hard grain form and sealed up in the dark, cool, they are going to last for decades and decades and decades. they're not going to go bad. If you buy them in a metal container, because a lot of times you can get wheat berries or buckwheat or any of your grains, even rice, you can get it in a metal number 10 can. When you open those, sometimes they smell kind of off, or you can smell the metal on it, and you can even taste it if you just pull it out of the can. But if you open that can up and let it air out and just get some air in there to get that metal scent out of there, it's really going to help your food, and it's never going to go bad. You just want to get that kind of funky taste out of it. So let it air out if you've got it in number 10 cans. Number 18, spices. Spices are never going to go bad. Again, we like to get them sealed airtight, and over time they can lose potency. So if you normally use a 1/4 teaspoon of something, after 10 years or so, you may want to use a 1/2 teaspoon. Just test them out and see how the potency is. That's the only thing that happens to them over time, is they lose a little bit of their potency, but they are still good. They're not going to go bad as long as they're sealed up good and in good conditions in the pantry. Number 19, salt. Salt is another one that's never going to go bad. Again, you just want to repackage it, especially if it comes in those little cardboard boxes or anything like that. Your plastic containers should be pretty good to keep them sealed in that way. We just put all our spices, salts, everything in airtight buckets. But like cardboard containers or anything like that, we repackage so we don't have to worry about any kind of moisture, just in case something seeps into that bucket. And number 20 is dried pasta. The pasta that you get in the store in boxes, if you package that up airtight, it is never going to go bad. It's going to last for decades and decades. So it is definitely one of those foods that if you can stock up on it, you've got the room for it. Those are one of those things that you can really pack away a ton, and it's going to last. It's just not going to go bad, because there's no eggs in the store pastas. If you're making it at home, you're going to want to have to keep that in the freezer because of those eggs. They don't store well in dry conditions. So you want to make sure that it's the store-bought pasta, or it doesn't have any eggs in it. And that is it for my list of 20 items that almost never expire. Stack it to the rafters. We've got so much going on in this country. Things are crazy around the world, and we need to be prepared for what's coming next. There's always something every day, and we need to be ready when the big stuff really starts happening. And that's it for today. I hope you enjoyed this video, and I hope to see you next time. Bye!